Hey guys, this is Jules. I have a card that I want to share with you guys today, and I have a tutorial that will follow this piece of video. This is a card that I created for Wild Orchid Crafts. It is just an all-occasion card, actually. It's quite dimensional. And then I can have my saying inside, and I did decorate the inside, giving it a writing area. But the tutorial basically will show you everything that I used on there. But if you have any questions, just let me know. One of the things that I did not show is, that I did show, I think I just stamped the inside this piece here, but I didn't show that I had stamped this butterfly. And the little pearl drops that you see is liquid pearls. And I use this, this is the first time that I'm using the bisque one, but I typically use a white or a ivory base color. But I decided to go with that one and just add some little accents of pearls. Kind of gives an elegant look to it. So this is a Wild Orchid Crafts project, and tons of flowers on here. Didn't want to go too super crazy, but it is a card that was inspired by a card I saw on Pinterest that I fell in love with, and I had actually pinned it on one of my boards called Beautiful Cards. And I decided just to change it up a tiny bit with having an accent of a yellow be the accent color for the card. And then I just kind of use some of the chrysanthemums from Wild Orchid Crafts and some of the 20mm roses and some wild roses here. And kind of giving it just a variety of a nice bushel here with some cheesecloth back there. And I just added these corners with the same liquid pearls. So really easy, simple card. I hope you guys enjoy it, and here comes the tutorial. I'm going to start with a pre-scored card. I'm just writing down the size of it there, and using some beautiful Pion paper. This is from Grandma's School Book. I chose that one with the daisies. I pulled that one out, and I was thinking of something else, but I didn't use another one. So I'm just going to cut a piece of this one off because I intend to just cover half of the card with the designer paper, and then the other half with some really old vintage hymnal paper. There's some vintage. I buy this off of a girl on Etsy. I'll have a link to her store on my blog. I tend to get a lot of different vintage pages, French novel paper, hymnal paper, quite a bit of ephemera type stuff. So I haven't shopped for a while because I have quite a bit of stuff still left. But so I just tore half of it to cover the front half and use some of that Studio Matte Medium. And I'm going to add a doily to this mix. And I have to say, this card was inspired by a card I saw on Pinterest. It's in one of my boards. I don't know who the artist is, but if you guys want to take a look at that, if you're on Pinterest, I believe it's in Beautiful Cards is the name of the board. So here I'm just going to distress the edges. I'm going to add some walnut stained distress ink, and what this is just going to do is add that old look, that old dirty, dingy-like look that we all love. It just gives it such a nice, it gives it a nice vintagey feel to it. So I do want to add some heat to it because I want to get it. Kind of want to get, sometimes if it stays a little bit wet, I tend to smudge it, so I don't want to do that. So I tend to dry it up a little bit. So here I'm using my Beacon 3-in-1 that I carry on my blog, and as well as the Studio Matte Medium. Carry quite a bit of different mediums here that I use. This is a Martha Stewart punch. I can't remember the name of it, but what I'm going to do is just add some gesso to tone down that green. And I saw it on this card as well. This lady that did this card is just, it's a beautiful look, and I love what she did with the little leaves that she used. It's not from the same punch, I don't think, but it's a different kind of either a punch or die or something of leaves, and she curled all the little petals, the leaves on the petals, so I really like that. I'm going to add some gesso around the edges, and I'll do this a couple of times because the ink tends to bleed into the gesso, so it doesn't stay stark white. So I do this a couple different times. And you may want to use, if you don't want it to stain through, you may want to use a permanent dye instead of a water-based dye ink. So that's just a thought. Some cheesecloth, and my awesome glue gun has not ever failed me. And my glue gun spatula from the glue gun kits that I carry on my blog as well. So I'm going to use a stylus, and I'm just going to do this technique that I've done before. If you have followed me in the past, you know that I do this technique on some flowers and things in the past. So this is just curling. This is the look that I saw her do. It looked like she curled it, so I really enjoyed doing this. So I did it on everyone, and you can just run the stylus tip over it or just push it down and it'll just bend it up. So however's easier for you if you have a stylus. Next, I grabbed some Wild Orchid Crafts vintage seam binding, just sprayed some water in it, and I crinkled it. And to kind of keep the crinkle, I set it with my dryer, my heat tool. These are some of my favorite flowers. They look like daisies, but they're called chrysanthemums on the Wild Orchid Crafts website. And the item number to all of this stuff from Wild Orchid Crafts is down below the video in the description box. If you're on my blog watching this, I do have links. And you can head over for detailed photos if you want to. This is a trellis rose that I used. It came from a mixed pack. So I put some yellow twine. That's also one of the products from Wild Orchid Crafts that they don't carry anymore that I saw. So I'm just going to add some wild roses and some chrysanthemums. And just kind of go up the seam, I guess, where the two papers meet. So I don't hide it completely because I don't carry it all the way down, but it just gave such a cool look. I liked how she did it. This lady did her card. So I just kind of followed suit, but I used my own flowers. She just used roses, and I wanted to use a variety of them with some cheesecloth. And so yeah, and it's so easy for me to use this little spatula tool to add my little leaves. I just took them all the way around, and they kind of gave a little bit more of a dimensional look to the card. So I really liked that. So I'm almost done here. So that's basically the front of the card. I'm going to add a couple of things in a second. So I needed just a couple more roses. So I think I added 3, either the 15 or the 20 millimeter, I think it's 20 millimeter open roses. So I'm just going to randomly add them in a couple different spots. And I also used a couple of plastic buttons that I had in my stash. I believe they're Jenny Boland's brand. So on the inside, I also wanted to decorate it. So I jumped the gun and I just grabbed a piece here, distressed the edges. Also did the inking to it, and I added to the inside. And later on, I had an afterthought of stamping it, which I should have done before adding it to the card, but it's okay. It came out fine. I really like how it looks. So I'm gonna go ahead and distress the edges and make it look like the front cover kind of. So this is just the other side of that daisy flower pattern paper on the front cover there. So this is a couple pieces, die cut pieces, or pieces that I can cut out, some just fussy cut real quick. A yellow butterfly and a little stamp with the little, I think it's a duckling that's on it, but they're both yellow, and I wanted to just bring out the yellow from the daisies on the cover of that paper. So just distressing it. I use my scissors, I use my craft knife to distress the edges of the butterfly, and then ink it just to kind of give it a good frame and make it pop a little bit. And here's that little stamp, the little duckling on it. Here's a couple of the plastic buttons and some vintage string from my friend. Thank you so much, Miss Lori. I use a string almost all the time when I'm stringing buttons or wrapping around something. And if you guys want to know where to find it, just ask me. I'll actually have a link to some other stuff on my blog for this project. The link is below the video in the description box as well. So I'm going to add these buttons down. And this is a recent buy I found at Tuesday Morning. These stamps are beautiful. Some of Tim Holtz from Stampers Anonymous. This is a swirl, and it's kind of a grungy, vintagey look. So I just put a piece of scratch paper alongside it so I didn't get it on the white. But oh my gosh. And I used some Stays-On, Timber Brown or something like that from Stays-On. And I also added a butterfly in the corner, but you guys didn't see that. But they're in the pictures in the over on my blog, so take a peek at that. I also added some of this liquid pearls to the corner and the butterflies. Gives it a gorgeous, elegant look. So head over to my blog for detailed pictures. All of the links are down below, and I will talk to you guys later. Thanks again for watching. I'll see you later. Bye, everyone.